Hey there, everybody. Pseudo's waiting for Nicole to get home, but this isn't her coming. Definitely not her. So, what we have in front of us is about somewhere between 12 and 15 yards of pretty much straight white pine wood chips and needles. This was dropped off by one of the local arborists that we have a relationship with, and it was lovely to see the guys again. And they said, yeah, we were working in the area and we thought it had been a while since we stopped by. They still wouldn't take any plants home with them, despite my efforts. And I didn't have a nice cold case of beer for them, so next time. But so this was dropped off a few days ago, and this whole pile I have left. It has rained a little bit on it. You can see over here a little bit of difference in color just under the drip edge of these trees that are just over it. And so I thought this would be a great time to talk about something. A lot of people think that pine will take absolutely forever to break down because of all the saps and the resin and just how fine and waxy the needles are. Some of this may be spruce, actually, looking at some of this, but it's all softwood conifer. This one's definitely white pine. Definitely white pine. 5 needles on the ends coming from each thing. So, anyway, this pile is already smelling incredibly sweet and incredibly rich. And I thought, let's dig into it a little bit and see if it's already cooking. All right, you're all going on the sifter now. Yeah, it's not too bad. Can you see all that steam? I don't know. We'll dig out this section right here just to make sure. All right, you must have been able to see that. And so if we come over in here, I'm going to reach my hand down, super highly scientific. This is just on the uncomfortable to hold my hand here side of the temperature range. And you can see we've already got very active activity. Wow, that's a terrible statement. That sounded dumb. We have a ton of actinorhizal bacteria activity, which you can see from some of the grayness that is occurring. There's a certain dryness, and you can kind of see the wet and the dry as it comes through here. It's it's already very much cooking, and there's a sweetness to it, and the leaves, needles really are already starting to fall apart from the heat and the biological activity. And so if I leave this for a little bit longer, turning it a handful of times in total, this will cook down to near perfect ratio compost, just like most spring or summer wood chippings will. I wouldn't be necessarily concerned with the acidity of this. We know from prior videos and data shared that pines are not the most acidic of the wood chips by sample, and that certain hardwoods actually have a higher level of acidity than the pines do in their wood chips and green manures. So this is awesome. I'm absolutely grateful for it. My plan is to finish sifting this prior pile, which was another 15 or so yards. That one was from the town. And so we'll finish sifting it. We'll take the fines for the chicken bedding and the duck bedding and the potting mulch. We'll take the good wood chips and general stuff in like wood chip form. We'll take these and add them to paths and as mulch on some of the garden beds, and some of the stickier bits, like you can see right there, those will either be used to make brush piles, although that quantity is definitely not sufficient, or we will use them to make biochar or to do small controlled burns to hold back some of the things that we are working to evict from the site, as it were, in hopes of replacing them with more productive or more beneficial or just less intrusive species. And so, yeah, there's a lot of yield out of wood chips, whatever species they come from. Obviously, there are a few with allelopathic concerns, but the heat treatment and the biological activity should take care of a lot of those compounds. And in some of those species, it's really things like roots that have the highest concentrations of those allelopathic compounds. And so if you're avoiding stump grindings from those, you might be able to cook away most of the stuff that you don't want around your growing plants. But we'll track this throughout the season. My plan, as I said, we'll get rid of all of this. We'll turn it into more useful subcategories of the wood chips, and we'll take this pile and kind of tumble it this way, and then tumble it that way, and then it could even be, by the time I get around to doing those 2 turns, we'll see how the season goes, it might be time to be able to spread it and share it amongst the other gardens, or to use it as a substrate for trying to grow things. So I hope this gives you something to think about, because a lot of us here in the Northeast deal with a lot of pine potential and are held back by our worries of what that might entail. And I'm here to tell you it's going to be all right. Let it cook, let it compost, use it. Don't waste this precious, precious resource. Till next time, thanks for watching. Happy planting.